Hey guys, welcome back to the garage. In this video we're going to do the systems test on my CNC mill here. It's kind of a culmination of all the work that we did to install the new Centroid all-in-one DC motion controller. The systems test goes through and checks out the systems on the machine, limit switches and travels and things like that. There's a document that goes over the systems test. You know, once we're done with this, that'll about wrap up the conversion. So, you know, every time you fire up the machine, you get this little box that says machine setup not completed, machine is not ready to run, contact your dealer. And that's because it still needs to run the systems test. So let's go ahead and get started with the systems test. Okay, in looking at the document for the systems test, requirements before running the system test. Make sure the control is fully integrated. We've put it all together. Check each direction of axle travel and change direction reversal and limits as required. Well, we've gone through that. We've set up the machine. We've tested the direction of each axis to make sure they're traveling in the right direction. So we're good there. Set up, calibrate motor revs for each axis. We've done that. We've calibrated the axis. We've taken out backlash. Set travel limits. To save time in the home switch test, zero out inputs that aren't being used for the home switches. I think we're good there. Run auto tune and drag tests. We've already tuned the servo, so that's done. Make sure that machine table is cleared of all items. I've got a strap clamp and a block still connected to the table. I'll remove that. And my little keyboard here, I'll pull that off the table. Empty the spindle of any tools and verify that the spindle face cannot run into the work table at the bottom of its travel. We'll do that. Actually, I'll just run my table down. We only got about 5 inches of travel, so that should take care of that. And we don't have an automatic tool changer, so that won't affect us. Okay, so now we're homed. All right, so we go F1 setup, config, 137, and test. It says, system test requires specific setup procedures for use only by qualified techs. Do not start testing until the spindle is empty. I'm going to go ahead and take the ER nut off. There's no tools. What they're saying is don't make sure there's no tools in it. And the work table is cleared. Press cycle start to continue or escape to cancel. So Alt S. Okay, it's testing limit switches. I'm going to zoom you up to the screen so you can see what it's doing. Okay, it's checking the x-axis travel right now. Wants to hit the other limit switch, it appears. There's about 3 feet of travel on this machine, so it's going to take a little bit. Looks like we got about 10 inches to go in the X positive direction. Closing in on it, about 3 inches to go. And then it's going to do the, it looks like the Y-axis limit. Now it's rapiding the X-axis back. Okay, looks like we're doing Y. take you back up to the display. Wish I could show you everything, but can't. About to hit the limit switch. Hit it twice. Now the Y is flying back to negative. It's coming back up, centered. Now our Z is being tested. Okay, we need to take a look up at the screen. We've got a missing parameter, line 1020. So let me see what that is. I'll get right back with you. Okay, it says, if the system test fails at any time while testing, you will see missing parameter line. And the sheet says 989 on the config screen. Go back to the main screen where you will see the following screen. Load the syst.test.out file located in the CNC10 directory and press F6 edit to see exactly what failed. So let's see if we can do that. So we'll go back to the main screen. And then what it says to load the syst.test.out file. There it is. And says F6 edit to see exactly what failed. Search for failure in the syst.out file. So let's do Alt F. And we're going to go to search. Find. We could have done a Control F here. Find, and we're looking for failed. Okay. Says system is not configured for ATC, checking travel limits and home set. Travel limit set and machine is homed. Start home switch testing. Homing axis 1 minus. We use one switch, and that's both for homing and limit. And it says distance between home positions is 31.4984. Distance between travel limits is 31.582. The difference between distances is 0.0296. Failure, travel limits set incorrectly. Home 2 axis, homing axis 2 minus. Hope you guys can read that. I don't know if you can read it or not. Okay, I've got home axis 1 plus. Axis has both minus and plus home switches. Distance between home positions is 31.4984. Distance between travel limits is 31.528. Difference between distances is -0, about 29 thousandths. Failure, travel limits set incorrectly. Homing axis 2 minus. Failure, home positions too close to encoder index pulse. And then homing axis, that's the negative direction. So on axis 2, and then home 2, failure home position is too close to encoder index pulse. Home 3, axis minus, failure home position is too close to index pulse. And 3 plus, too close to index pulse. The encoders on the servo motors themselves have an index pulse. So I think we might have to probably pull the belt, rotate the pulley a little bit, and then rebuilt it. Let's see, that's on axis 2. Axis 3 is the same way. Axis 1 doesn't seem to have that particular problem. So in my axis 1, which is X, when it did its travel, there's a difference between, well, see, in minus there isn't any issue, it looks fine. On the homing axis 1 plus, distance between home positions is 31.4984, distance between travel limits is 31.528. Failure, travel limits set incorrectly, so I have to fix my software travel limits. On homing axis 2 minus, failure, home position too close to an index pulse. So basically, the way the Centroid software works is when you home your machine, it's homing to your switch. Okay, it hits the switch, and then it comes off the switch. The software is looking at an index pulse on the encoder on the servo motor. Once it finds the index pulse, that becomes home. So it's a very precise way of homing the machine. So the switch, the home switch, in my case it's a home / limit switch, just gets the machine in the ballpark, and then it comes off of that and it starts looking for the encoder index pulse on the encoder. When you look at a true differential encoder, there's an A, B, and an not A, not B, and then there's an index, not index, and then index. It's the index pulse that is being looked at after it hits that switch. So in the failure here, what occurred is it hit the switch, and then in coming off of it, the software saw the index pulse too quickly. The index pulse has to be away from that limit switch significantly, so it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? The index pulse has to be far enough away from the limit switch so that there's no error in setting the home position. So we had that on our Y. We had it on basically homing axis 2 minus, failure, home position too close to encoder pulse, and homing axis 2 plus. So the same Y in both directions, and there's 2 switches on the Y. You know, we've got the same issue. And Z, we've got the same thing. So the way to fix that is on my Y-axis is I unbelted them, I marked the motor, and then I turned the motor without turning the axis. I unbelted, I turned the motor a half a turn, and then I rebelted the axis. And I did the same thing on Z. I unbelted the motor, kind of trying to keep the ball screw in position, turned the motor pulley a half a turn, and then rebelted it. So hopefully that gets us away from gets the index pulse away from the trip point of the home / limit switch. Now in doing that, what I need to do is go back and I need to reset my software limits on the machine. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, we're getting ready to set the software limits back up. So what I've done is I've restarted the machine. I've homed it. I'm going to it's in the machine position. You do that by hitting Alt-D. We don't want G54, we want Alt-D. So at home, we're starting from the negative X, negative Y, and the positive Z zeros. So we can determine what our we're going to use the machine to help us determine what our software limits need to be. So that's done. we need to go in and zero out the software limits. So we go F1 and we go to config, password, we go to machine, jog, we're going to go over it. So we're going to zero that out, we're going to zero this out, and we're going to zero out the Z. We're going to, okay, so it's asking us, do we want to save the changes? Definitely we want to save the changes. We need to figure out what the Z travel is on this machine, and we need to be just shy of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jog the Z down, and then we want to start jogging it down. And we're going to go to see when that limit switch trips, because I can't see the limit switches, but we have tested them, so it will trip, and then we'll record the value. Okay, there's a trip. So it went negative 47281. So let's come off of that, say 32 thousandths. So we'll, okay, so we're negative 4.7281. And then let's give ourselves, let's take off 50 thousandths of that. So we're going to go negative 46781 for our Z, for our software limit. All right. So we got to get back up off the Z, minus switch. So let's go into F1 jog, and we'll go to our Z, and we're going to use minus 4.6781. Okay, there's our Z. Let's save that one. All right, now let's go ahead and figure out what our X is going to be. So let's do an Alt-J, and we're in continuous, and we're going to move in the positive direction. Let's speed that up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get super close to the limit switch. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to e-stop it, so as to disconnect the motors, and I'm going to hand crank up to that limit switch. Let's see when it trips. Okay, there she tripped. I'm going to back off that trip. Okay, it came off, but watch. I'm going to hit the limit. Okay, it was about 7, 9, 10. Let's come off of it. Let's hit it again. Seven, 8, 6. I'm going to come off of it and go really slow. See where it trips. 7, 9. Let's take a 1/4 inch off of that value. So we're at 31.7881 minus 0.25 equals. Okay, so that value, let's just call it 31.538 for our X. All right. Okay, we want to do the same thing for Y. So I'm going to pull the E-stop out, and we're going to jog in the positive direction. Okay, I'm going to E-stop it, and I'm going to crank the Y. Till she trips. Okay, it tripped at 13,897. Let's come off of it again. Head towards it. $892. So let's do the same thing here. 13.892. 13.892 minus 0.25 equals. Y is going to be 13.642. Okay, X 31.538, Y 13.642. We're going to save that. Okay, I'm going to get the machine jog back close to home. Pull these stop obviously here. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the machine and then we're going to run the system test again. So I want to get the axis close to home so it doesn't take so long to home the machine. Okay. Do one more check. 31.538, 13.642, and minus 46781. That's what we came up with. Okay. Shut down. We're going to do a power off. We're going to power down the entire control, and then we're going to bring it back up. Home the machine. Now we're homed. All right. All right, let's escape. Let's go F1 setup. We're going to go config 137, and we're going to run the test. Let's move my keyboard. Cycle start. Zoom me out so you can see what's happening. Okay, same thing here. It's heading X in the positive direction. It did home. hits the switch, backs off, hits it again, marker pulse. There, it found the marker pulse. That's my guess. It seems that way anyway. Now we're doing Y. About to trip the switch. Marker pulse. Yep. Oh, got another error. Let's see what we got this time. System test, edit F6. Let's expand it. Okay, now it says difference between distances is travel limit set incorrectly. Okay, I think we just got one failure this time. Travel limit set incorrectly for our X position. It's just off by about a thousandth and a half. And that's the only one. So Z is okay. Let's look at Z. The Z difference is 31 thousandths. The Y difference is 34 thousandths. Maybe I'm on the wrong side of this. I am. I'm in the negative here. And these are all positive numbers. So let's look at the X again here. And we need to get on the other side of 31,498. So let's go 31,490. Okay, let's rapid it. Park it so we get close to home. Go back to setup, config, 137, run the test, Alt S. All right, we'll get this yet, guys. Okay, it's hitting the switch now. Off of it, marker pulse. Found the marker pulse. Y, marker pulse, okay. Marker pulse, boom. X, Y done, now we're doing Z. I think we got past it, fellas. Certainly looks like we got past the software limits. So it looks like my software limits, when it runs this test, it's looking at the marker pulse on the minus side, looking at the marker pulse on the plus side, and it doesn't want to see the software travel limits outside those marker pulses. Looks like we doing some more tests here. At least we got further than we did before. It's working on X. Tested that X minus switch several times. I'm not sure, I don't know if I was looking for repeatability or what, but we've gotten further through the test process, so that's a good thing. So keep in mind, if we're on the minus side of the software travel limits, we got to get it back to the other side. Yeah, you can see it's looking for the marker pulse there. It's looking for the marker pulse again. Looks like it repeats this test several times. Looks like she's done with X. Looks like it's done with Y and heading to Z. Hey, I think we're done. No errors that time. Woohoo! Let's look at the report and see what she says. Edit it. Okay. So now our distance between home positions is 31,484, and now our distance between travel limits is 31,490. So we're below, and I think that's what our problem was. You see here, so we're below by 8.4 thousandths from the home positions. And the Y is 34,6 That's good. And then Z, distance between home positions is 4,531, and we set it at 4.5, so we're below, so it's happy with that. Oh, these are home switch tests. Or the homing axis 1 minus plus, off switch, home position, 8/10 off the switch. In the plus direction, it's 1,000ths and 3/10. The Y minus is a thou and a half. Y plus is 1.1, or a thou and a tenth, sorry. Z-axis minus is a thou and a tenth. Z-axis plus a thou and 4/10. And at the very bottom here it says finish testing home limit switches, pass systems test. Okay, so we passed the systems test. I'd never run it before. I read the tech bulletin on the system test. So evidently what we're doing is we're checking limit switches, the homing, software travel limits, and that's what we did. If you had an ATC and it was configured, it would run a test on the ATC tool changing, from what I read. So I hope this video helps you out. I'm going to post, once it's posted, I'll let Centroid take a look at it and ask them to make any comments on it. I think my only question at this point really is my software travel limit. Is it far enough away from that home switch position? So anyway, we passed the system test and it's great. So I shouldn't get that error message anymore. Let's find out. Let's shut it down. I'm going to park it. Okay. Now we'll power it up and we shouldn't get that error dialog message anymore. I have it set to automatically load the software when I boot the machine. I like doing that because I like seeing the ping test right here. This is pinging the computer, and now this is pinging the all-in-one DC. So it establishes some communication, the Ethernet comm between the two. We're up. We don't have that dialog box. We're going to home it. Right on. Milestone met. System test done. It's a good feeling. This is my first experience with a Centroid all-in-one DC conversion. I'll create a video kind of recapping things and post that too. Talk to you guys soon.